What is up, my plastic pantheon? It's Chris with Tabletops and Tentacles here with another video of Bones 5 core set. And in the last one I just kind of went through the first 30 in the core set, did some shots of them, but I decided for this one we would shake it up a little bit, and instead of going in numerical order, I would do it by certain groups, and I thought maybe it would be fun for me to comment on them and not just have music playing with it. I'd love to know which way you prefer for future videos. I can always strip out my voice and just put in music if you'd prefer that. But as I was watching it, I was like, man, I wish I was talking about these because I'm kind of excited about them and it's kind of fun to talk about them. So I thought we would get this going right now and talk about some Bones 5 core set minifigs. Starting out, we have the Elf Rangers here, and there are 5 of them, and they had pretty minimal assembly, which was nice. Just a couple of like quivers to glue on and stuff, and they're fairly similar in poses, but I like the look of these guys a lot. They're very classic, old school D&D looking, with nicer details, of course. I like that one of them got the sword, and then you've got the one that's pulling the bow back and everything, and I think that these would be a really fun set to paint and sort of vary the cloaks a little bit so that, you know, they're wearing the same uniform, but maybe they have slightly different colored cloaks on, some weathering, a little bit of dirt. So I think these ones are going to be a lot of fun to paint. I think they're really nice looking, but they're also low detail enough that's for somebody like me that isn't a professional painter by any stretch of the imagination. I would still be capable of painting them and having them look cool. And I think they do look especially cool as a group here. I do think it's funny that the two are kind of almost before and after of shooting an arrow, but I think these are pretty cool. I kind of wish one of them had been crouching or doing something a little more posied than just standing, but they are pretty neat all the same. I also threw the large elk figure, the 1031, on here. It didn't really fit with the rest of these, but honestly it doesn't really fit with the entire rest of the set. I think it's a really cool figure, and I love generic, like, townsfolk, NPCs, and animals, and so I love that it's in here, but it does feel kind of out of place compared to all of the other miniatures in this. It's just kind of strangely generic elk, but it is nice. It's got some nice detail to it. Next up, we've got the plus 18 bonus figures in the core set, and I think these are little kobold type characters here, which are always really nice to have. There's a couple of repeats. There's 2 of each of about half of them, and then there's some unique sculpts at the end here, and they're always fun to have, little kobold characters. I especially love the pointing kobold here with the spear. He looks like, as he spins here, that he's on the dance floor or something, trying to get a lady to come over to him and dance with him. It's very funny. He's quite sassy. It's nice to have them. I also like the kobolds they can double for goblins or gremlins and that kind of thing too. If you're desperate and don't have overlap, I feel like they're sort of just nice generic minion figures, and I do like that there's a few unique ones in here, like the little wizard guy here and the big battle axe guy. There's a fat one with a cleaver, so you know, it's always good to have a little bit of variety with them, but they're pretty simple sculpts. They're kind of classic old school D&D monsters, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to number these guys because I don't think they really have numbers for each specific one on it, so you'll just have to figure that out for yourself. They're kobolds. They're kobolds. The end. Then we've got the Boulderkin here, and there are 6 of these guys, and I think these are really fun. Weirdly, this is one of the sets where I wish I had 2 or 3 of the collections for it. Not because I think they're going to be incredibly useful, but because I think they would be really fun to paint different ways. As I was slapping the arms on these guys, and there was pretty minimal assembly on these, again, like usually just one arm and a head, I was thinking about how fun it would be to paint them different ways, because you could paint them as lava monsters with the black cracked surface and like the nice gold and lava looking colors, or you could do them as regular stones, which would probably be the most useful coloring style. But the funnest way would be to design them as like gemstone type creatures, where you've got one that's gold and emerald and ruby, and have it like a mix of the rock and the gemstones, so that they had like a little bit of color and accent to them. That would also be more fun during play, because then you could say you're attacking the ruby one or the red one instead of just, oh, I'm going to attack that brown one over there. I do like the Naruto run on this guy here in particular. But I actually really like these little guys. I don't have anything like them previously in any of my other sets, and I could see them being pretty useful from a number of different standpoints there. Now we've got the Direwolves, and these are pretty cool. They're zombie wolves, basically. I'm probably gonna have a hard time painting them just because I lost my pup recently, but they are cool looking. They're pretty spooky. They've got some really nice detail, like the ribs peeking through and the hollow sockets of the skull. I particularly like this second one here, where it's got a little bit of the skull on the face there, and I think it could be a really cool paint job. The third one is like a Dreadwolf zombie Direwolf type character, and I did not assemble it yet because it has a sculpted interior rib cage on it, and I think that it would benefit from being painted ahead of time, because once it's assembled, A, it would be hard to get primer in there if I'm priming it, and B, I think it would lose the ability to have those rib bones kind of sculpted out and detailed. So here's some pieces of a Dreadwolf. It is going to look really cool when it's assembled. It's probably 60% larger than the other two wolves, and next to a regular size figure, it's quite impressive looking. Next up, we have the little pizza dragon, which is Bones' Reaper mascot for this particular set of Bones collections, and he's very silly. He's cute though. Little pizza dragon with a little mustache. Now we've got the Kid Heroes sets 1 and 2, and these are all fun. I don't love them. I don't know that I would use them very often, but they are a really fun little set. Like there's this little badass dude here with his ferret, and then there's this, and they're each very inspired. Like this one's got a little more of an anime kick to it. Their exaggerated features make them a little harder to use as just kids in sets, but I do think that they're fun. I could see us doing something like with this Harry Potter kid here, where we did like one of our Crossworlds things where we landed in a world full of these type of characters or something, and they would be fun for that. Like you've got the Merida Brave character here, and I do think that they're sculpted well. They're just not my thing, I guess I should say. I actually really like this character. This kid with his little pompadour, bowl cut, and lantern actually is probably my favorite of the sculpts. I think he's really cool looking. The pouty thief, alchemist, wizard character is pretty cool too. I find it interesting some of them have more exaggerated giant feet and features than others. This kid here is definitely like my classic. When I was a little kid, I liked knights type character, but he has a toucan on his shoulder, which is kind of bizarre and inexplicable, but it's a neat little detail. Here's the Inuit that I was talking about, and she's really cool. She's got these long braids and a nice furry coat and a little spear. And of course, now we have the pet mascots to go with them. We've got the big dragon, which is a little dragon, but is still a nice classic looking dragon. There's this thing. Not sure what this is, a hairless bear lion dog thing. It's kind of awful looking. It's probably the worst one in the set in my opinion. The face is really flat. I don't know. This is a much better one. I love the goat with all of the gear piled up on top of it, ready to rock and roll and stomp around a mountain pass somewhere. I like that it would be useful for non-kid heroes too. The baby bear's pretty adorable. I actually especially like the way the light kind of kicks off the different fur textures on the baby bear one. And then we have a dog that is also pretty great, just kind of a generic, nice puppy, which is always good. And then here's a shot of all of the kid heroes together in sort of a circle. They actually do look really cool when they're all assembled together like this, and particularly once they're all painted, I think they will be cool. I just don't know if I have much use for them specifically. But anyway, that is my next bank of characters from Bones 5. I hope you like this new, slightly different format from the last time I was doing it. I think the next one I do will be mostly horror-themed stuff. We'll do the Halloween creatures and the Dread Knights and a few things like that. But I thought that this would be sort of a fun way to do this with the assemblies, as well as my thoughts on the figures. As always, thank you so much for watching and for supporting indie creators. If you'd like to support the channel, you can go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/deeplydapper, or you can back Tabletops and Tentacles issue 3. It's live on Kickstarter right now. It's over 200 pages with 24 contributors, and it's all cryptid themed. So we've got Sasquatch and Mothman and the Nightcrawlers and all sorts of fun stuff going on over there. I'm really proud of the magazine, and it's been a labor of love, and I'm really happy to see people's responses to this new issue. You can find links to it down below. You can also find links over to Reaper. I do think that they are reopening the Pledge Manager in a few weeks here, so that people that missed out on certain things can get back in on it, but they haven't announced exactly what's going to be available in that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. May you live in interesting times.